Hi there, it's Lucy Clark from Mind Food, and I'm here to talk to you about wellbeing tips. It's going to be the second time we've talked about the importance of sleep. So if you didn't catch the first video I did on that a few weeks ago, it might be worth having a little look over on YouTube or Facebook. But otherwise, we'll just do a quick recap for you. So last time we talked about sleep, we said that it's incredibly important to get the sleep that you need. Without it, we all feel frazzled, fried, tetchy. Quite often you think about children being dreadful after a bad night's sleep, but frankly, there is no reason why we should be any different. So sleep really is super important. So normally they say that you need anything from 7 to 9 hours sleep a night to function properly, and that's so that you can set in motion all of the processes that are about consolidating experiences and memories, about essential repairs, getting essential repairs done in while you're busy sort of being blissfully unaware and sleeping. There's a whole active process of tidying up that goes on while you're asleep. But actually it's not quantity that you need, so that 7 to 9 hours can differ from person to person. It's actually the quality of sleep that's most important, and to get that quality sleep you need to be fairly rested before you even come to sort of go to bed. The other thing that we talked about last time was the importance of circadian rhythms. So that's like your body clock that keeps you in tune with day and night and all the functions that happen in your body, you know, again, without you being aware of them. And a lot of them are connected to the rising of the sun, when your body expects to be bouncing out of bed and springing into action, and then sunset when you're supposed to be settling down, winding down after a hard day out in the fields or whatever. And it's amazing how far we've all come from that. And yeah, I'm not saying that at midsummer you need to be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning or going to bed, you know, at 10 or at night. But it is worth having a think about how far you might have come from that original sort of cycle. But yeah, it's a really vicious one if you can't sleep at night, because during the day you're much more likely to need to catch up on some rest. If you're struggling with depression, then you know sometimes getting up in the morning can be a massive struggle. It can feel completely impossible. But yeah, it's worth working towards a better sort of sleep rhythm. And I would say that if you're really struggling with sleep and insomnia for any length of time, you really ought to get some professional help. So you want to be having a chat with your GP about it. But yeah, here we're just going to talk about some easy things you can do to start resetting old habits. We're going to have a little think more than we did last time about how to slow down at night. And so the first thing that you really want to be doing is eating quite early, so not too close to bedtime, and you want to be avoiding sugar and booze and caffeine. They all work against those winding down processes. And the other thing that you want to do is set aside some nice gentle pottering about time. So that's time without any screens, without loud noise. It's just a gentle sort of winding down time when there's nothing particular going on. You can grab a quiet moment to jot down anything that's on your mind, or if you've got something big on for the next day, you probably want to jot that down too. And the brain really tries hard to hang on to things that it feels are going to be important to you, and what you want to do by writing them down is let go of them a bit for you. You can always come and look at your list in the morning. You can even jot down things in the dark at night. It really is really helpful to just get things out on paper, and it doesn't have to be in any sort of mad detail. The other thing that you can do to start settling down is get into a good book. Now, if you have a busy brain, then actually focusing on a page is quite difficult actually, and I've experienced that myself. I've been through years and still do struggle with, reading a novel. But what can be quite nice to do is dig out something with lots of pictures, and just ponder over it really. Just something to absorb your interest very gently can be quite mindful too. So I wouldn't rule out fishing out an old magazine or even an old children's storybook. I'm such a massive fan of Peanuts. Any of those sort of cartoon strips, they're great. So that's settling down into a nice book, and then you're going to dim the lights and get into something called abdominal breathing. And I don't know if you know about abdominal breathing. It's also known as belly breathing and diaphragmatic breathing. It's basically your resting breath. So it's the opposite of breathing up into your chest. So if you're struggling with stress, chances are you'll be breathing like this. And you can see quickly that's how you get into sort of a horrific hyperventilation state, which I'm not going to reproduce here. So yeah, basically, if you're breathing up into your chest, you're using your fight or flight breath, which means you're in emergency mode, which is nowhere, it's not useful for nighttime. So your fight and flight breath up into your chest and filling out your lungs, that's assuming you're going to be running somewhere, fighting off something, and obviously at nighttime that's quite the opposite of what you want. So you're going to start to break this habit very gently, and you're going to start off by kind of getting your bearings on where you are actually breathing into. So you might want to put your hand on your chest and onto your belly, sort of belly button area, and feel where you normally breathe from. So you'll probably find that your chest moves up. That's the first thing I should say. But really that ought to be settling down into the night. And really where you want to be starting to breathe is into your belly area. So if you then rest a second hand on there, you should, the resistance of your hands against your belly you'll feel that, and it'll help you focus your breath in that area. So you're just going to gradually just get used to those sensations of your breath moving out into your belly as you breathe in, and in as you breathe out. I'm not sure if I've made that particularly clear. You'll be pleased to know that I'm going to post a little video on how to do proper belly breathing after this, and also an NHS kind of explainer, so we'll have all bases covered by the end of this. And yeah, gradually you'll feel your breath starts to slow down naturally. You don't want to force it at all, and after doing that for a little while, you should start to feel more settled and sleepy. And at that stage you just turn off the lights and you repeat your practice until you drift off. And really this slowing down before you sleep is the key. So even if sleep doesn't come, if you focus on settling your breath into that gentle sleepy rhythm, you should feel a bit more rested, both physically and mentally, in the morning. Now, I think it's important to say that breathing techniques don't work for everybody, because actually most of us, when we're stressed, we put ourselves under a ridiculous amount of pressure to get it right, which, is a real problem actually. And a lot of people do find that they are prone to over sort of worry about their breathing, when actually what you're just trying to do is recover at something that ought to come fairly naturally. So if it doesn't, just don't sweat it. If you think it might work for you, it's probably best to have a go at practicing it during the day when you're already feeling quite settled, and that way at night it becomes sort of second nature. If you find you're struggling with it, then at night just settle down to just staying as still as possible, noticing any tension in your muscles, and trying to just let go of that, and sometimes thinking about how your body feels heavier and heavier as you start to slow down can be really useful. One final trick is, and it seems very counterintuitive, is you're going to try and keep your eyes open for as long as possible. I thoroughly recommend it. It seems bonkers to be trying to keep your eyes open at a time when you want to just be nodding off, but I promise you, you will find better sleep if you try that, because you won't tend to drift in and out of sleep as much and feel like you haven't got anywhere. You'll properly nod off. So I hope all that's useful. A lot of it is just personal stuff. Definitely look up the videos for a proper explanation about abdominal breathing and how that can help you with rest. And if you like this video, if you could press like, love, if you could follow us wherever you found us on YouTube or Facebook, and if you could share this with anybody you feel could benefit. Thanks so much. Bye.